The season one off season with the midshipmen of Navy. Let's do this. Again, for those who missed it last night, yeah, Navy's a tough team to take over. Also, shout out to Will Harbor being on Navy. That's tremendous. Yeah, we lost like half of our team. There was a whole lot of seniors that graduated here, and that's gonna complicate things, isn't it? Sure is. Sure is. Leroy, there is a possibility of 06. I'm working on getting the next mod for it and setting that up, so we'll see what's up in regards to that. But because I didn't have that set up, and I said, screw it, I want to play some NCAA, we went back to old reliable, of course, with Revamped. All right, draft results. We know nobody for us got drafted. I am intrigued in a couple of teams. Old Penix didn't go pro. Well, not after that performance in the national title game where his fucking rib cage got imploded. Jesus Christ, the poor bastard. Let's see. Did Caleb Williams not go pro? Okay, well, a lot of people didn't go pro compared to, or at least two in particular, compared to who I thought might enter the drafts. Ohio State. CJ Stroud went pro a year late, which is fine. It's not what the roster did. So, shout out to the Texans being in the playoffs, by the way. Good for them, huh? It's going to be fun when this gets uploaded to YouTube in March and they somehow won the Super Bowl. I'm excited. I'm excited. And old Michigan. Old Michigan. There you go. You'll love to see it. Anyway, transfer requests. We actually have two, which is kind of nice. It is another wide receiver, which we do not need, but Leon Houghton Jr. out of Maryland, 70 overall, 6'4", 210. We won't say no to you. And then Chris Adams, gentleman Chris Adams, out of Old Dominion, 65 overall offensive lineman. Yeah, why would we not accept you two onto the team? That is more than fine by me. It's kind of nice to be doing something where I'm actually allowed to take in transfer requests, because normally we have a challenge going on where people wouldn't necessarily fit what we got going on. So that's pretty nice. Let's see, we are still in a recruiting battle for a couple of these players here. We haven't finalized our class just yet. We have 5 scholarships left and 10 players on the board. We have a massive lead for the vast majority of them. Again, it's the 10,000 point week. It's the big question of how we want to handle this. It's a lot of defensive players, a running back in Craig Hayden. Okay. Really quickly. I don't think we need to put points into Craig Hayden since we already brought in Alex Gaston. So, Craig, we like you, but we'll focus points elsewhere. We have 6 wide receivers joining already on top of the guy that just transferred over, which is insane. We have 1 tight end, another one in Otis Gutierrez. Wouldn't be that bad. We got 2 centers. Defensive end is the interesting one. Jonathan Richardson is the must, given his overall. Honestly, all these guys would be really, really solid. Linebackers, Cedric Stovall. So Stovall and Damian Robertson, we need to compete for big time. And then either safety would be okay. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more clear cut of like, okay, ignore this guy. But let's take a look here. Bring up the old calculator. Shout out to B Major. 27 months, Major. Thank you very much for that. How are you, my friend? I hope you are doing well. So obviously, the 10,000 divided by 9 ends up being pretty obvious from a math perspective. But if we put... move Rima Butler up a spot here. I want to kind of get these positions. Is there a broadcast tomorrow? Boy, there sure is. 2 days in a row of Sports Gamer broadcast. 3 more to go, baby. Playoff time. It's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. I fell asleep during the third quarter of the national title game tonight. I was just cooked. All right, so Cedric Stovall. It's pretty much a must. I just don't know if I want to divide these points evenly. You know? So, save for defensive end. What? Put like... Again, we only have 5 scholarships too, and I'd hate for Goddard to actually accidentally take a spot away from Richardson. So... I think we're going to take out Mike Brooks and Goddard. We'll try to secure Dave Brantley and fight for Jonathan Richardson. So, yeah, we'll take Brooks off the list. We'll take Goddard off the list. And then at safety, we have Ryan Bell and Rima Butler. Both of them would be decent. We have a bigger lead for Butler, and he's higher rated, and he's a bigger option, too, at safety. I'm going to take Ryan Bell out of there. And we'll divide it by 6, or do we just want to divide by 5? I'd hate for, like, the tight end to, yeah, I think we're going to take Otis out of there. Sorry, Otis. We do already have 1 tight end. So, with that, pretty straightforward in how we are going to divvy up the points. It's going to be nearly 2,000 apiece. Nearly. Rima Butler... Actually, for Rima, given that we have such a big lead, let's go with 1,000 points for Rima Butler. We'll go with 1,000 points as well for Dave Brantley, and put a little bit more emphasis on the other 3 that I would say deserve that little bit of extra emphasis. Massive lead for Stovall. If it was about 2,600 per person, let's go 2,000 on Stovall. See if that's enough to seal the deal. It's a bit of a risk. And then we'll go 3,000 on Robertson and Richardson. Actually, you know what? I want a little bit more on Richardson, I think. We'll go 2,500 for Robertson and 3,500 for Richardson. It's a bit of a risk trying to compete on multiple fronts instead of just speccing solely into Jonathan Richardson. But we do need as much well-rounded help as we can get right now. So that is going to be our approach here. Yeah, should be fine. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. As we go to signing day, how much luck will we have? Is this going to be a bad strategy? The well-rounded strat has worked out pretty well for us in this first season. So what do we got? What do we got? Will we have much luck? And we landed all 5 of them first season with Navy, and we use up all 25 scholarships. That's huge. Oh, that's huge. You'll love to see that. Strategy worked out tremendously well. So we get a look here at our final crop of talent. 25 scholarships. It does say that we need 2 defensive tackles, but it's okay. Jonathan Richardson tied for the highest rated. He is an absolutely massive human being. And then, of course, the 75 overall athlete, McKinley Malloy, leading the way. Quite a few 70s in the mix. I believe 3-star is the highest that we had. We weren't able to lock down any 4-star talents, but that is okay. We needed some good depth across the board, and we got it. In terms of the top classes in the nation, we were 45th, which, given the fact that we did not have a 4-star recruit, and actually we're listed at 23 instead of 25, which is interesting. Could have sworn we would have used all 25. Is what it is. Not too worried. 23 still pretty good. I'm going to guess we have the highest rated class without a single 4-star recruit, and that is absolutely the case. So the fact that we had a top 50 recruitment class when we weren't able to lock down a single 4 or 5-star recruit is tremendous. It was Ohio State leading the way. A lot of the usual suspects towards the top in terms of traditional powerhouses. Maybe you look at like Minnesota, it's like, ooh, Minnesota did kind of well, but outside of that, yeah, you had Army at 30. They were able to lock down 3 4-star prospects. So in a way, we are kind of competing head-to-head with Army at all times. So we will see. But I'm fairly happy with how that turned out. Now comes the fun part of potential position changes. And this can always take a little while to sort through. We do have 3 athletes as well that we need to look at here. And the first is McKinley Malloy, who would be a 75 overall quarterback, a 71 rated running back, a 75 wide receiver. Easy for me to say. So an offensive talent for sure. It's just a matter of QB or wideout. I mean, solid speed. The awareness kind of sucks. The break tackle's not amazing. Elusiveness is up there. Carry rating only a 70. 82 for catching. That catch is up there. 67 jumping. 82 throw power. 81 accuracy. If we look at quarterbacks, we were able to bring in a new guy in Ernest Young. Outside of that, we have Tedros Gleaton and Blake Horvath as a 75 rated sophomore, which is pretty good. We brought in a crap load of wide receivers in this recruitment class to the point where we're probably going to have to cut a couple of guys. We're probably leaning towards quarterback with McKinley Malloy. I think that's the way to go. So McKinley, you are set. David Morris, 67 rated fullback, a 64 tight end. Definitely an offensive lineman at 6'4", 273. I mean, fullback, tight end. Big shout out to John on the 37 months. Good to see you. And a shout out to Smoot as well. 67 months. Big day for the Anaheim Ducks. 90 acceleration, 78 strength.
Jeez, highly unnecessary.
He has good break tackle and good trucking. Can he catch? No. So if he's not on the O-line, he'd be our fullback. Actually, his catch and traffic rating is okay, but his outright catching rating sucks. He also can't really run any routes. He can't jump worth a damn. I mean, you put the big guy at fullback and let him be a moving refrigerator. Not a bad idea. Rename him William Perry. How is the O-line looking? Yeah, we probably need him on the O-line more than anything. Fair enough. For the moment, we'll put him at left tackle because we got a lot to decide there. Luke Sullivan is going to be either a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or a safety. Good to know. Very versatile. Defensive line looks okay. DT, we're going to have to move a couple of people over. There are quite a few linebackers. We got for the secondary. Secondary is relatively crowded too. Quite a few places we could put this guy. I mean, only 71 strength. He is quite fast. Let's see, what do we got here? 59 catching, 69 jump. Oh, we're looking at linebacker, D-line there. 83 throw power, but 57 accuracy. Tremendous. 69 tackle rating. Power and finesse moves aren't great. His block shedding is tragic. Luke, where the hell am I going to put you? Good pursuit and play recognition. Coverages aren't great. His press rating's okay. Where the fuck am I supposed to put you? At 6'3", 240 pounds. Gotta be honest, I think it's safety. I think he kind of is a bit of a waste on the D-line. It's either linebacker or safety. I mean, that's a big, big man to put at safety. So, congratulations, Luke. I think you're going to be a linebacker for us. Out of pretty much pure desperation. Blake Horvath was a quarterback we already had. Can't really move him anywhere else. Of course, we just moved Malloy over there. Galeaton could also be a wideout or a running back, and hold Ernie Young for as long as you're known as that name, by that name, which you won't be for too much longer. He's looking okay too. So those are pretty much our 4 quarterbacks. Some younger quarterbacks at that. Ernest Young will probably get the red shirt this year. I think we can be a little bit risky. For the running backs, big Alex Gaston. He's pretty much good where he is. Amin Hassan, 5'7", 169 pounds. Christ. Hopefully, have a high injury rating. You got Anton Hall, who could be a fullback, a wideout, a tight end, if needed. That's good to know. Then again, we already have 2 fullbacks. Could move him over to tight end, though. At 5'8". Yeah, I don't think we're going to do that, though. Chapman. Can't really move you anywhere. Outside of moving you to wide receiver. Ooh, he could be a safety. Safety or a corner? Honestly, given the amount of wide receivers I have and knowing that some people might have to change over to running back anyway, Brandon Chapman, we're going to move you to the secondary. Mr. Fabian France, a 69 rated quarterback for this guy. Really? Really? That was a sophomore out of Asbury Park, New Jersey. What is your throw power then? Am I going to be able to see it from here? Oh, I'm not, because of course I'm not. That would be too easy. Uh, 80 and 74. No, Fabian, I'm going to move you over to quarterback for the moment. And then Heidenreich. Old Eli Heidenreich. I think as well, he could end up being moved. Ooh, he can play defense as well. He can. I think he'd be a decent little he's an undersized linebacker is the problem. Right? Like he'd be an undersized fullback, an undersized tight end. Wide receiver would technically be okay. There's no way in hell we could play him. I mean, we could technically play him at defensive tackle. Does it matter that he's technically undersized? Maybe, maybe not. And he would be a relatively fast linebacker. Do we want to move old Heidenreich? Defensive side of things, it looks like it'd be a pretty big risk. I don't think he'd be that good. We're going to leave old Heidenreich at a running back. So we got the fullbacks, Daba Fofana. Technically, we played on the O-line, too, if we wanted him to play there. It's not bad. We don't need him at running back, though. I mean, he's a 77. He would be the best of the bunch, but... honestly, though? 74 tight end? How good were our tight ends? I mean, it might be worth moving him. Alex Texa. Same thing, could be moved to either spot. We only need one fullback, right? No, we do need 2. Okay. And again, both these guys are pretty undersized too. So I mean, we have options. We have options. In terms of who plays where. That's good to know. Damn, we're going to have a lot to try to sort through here, I would say. Just double checking DJ Donovan here. It's going to be the same thing for all these guys, whether that's fullback, running back, tight end. Could also technically play on the defensive side of things, could Thomas Scully as a senior, but I imagine his defense is atrocious at this point. Yeah, 64 tackle rating. As a senior, it's at least not worth moving him over. And then Aaron McCray, who we picked up this year, can play almost anywhere offensively. Isn't bad. 6'5", 252. That was a big boy. Big boy. Wide receivers, we brought in William Henry Harrison, to be precise. He is definitely best at wideout, so that's fine. Leon Houghton was the guy that came over from Maryland. Houghton. Definitely best at wide receiver. Curtis Young. Again, best at wideout. That's for me. Nathan Kent Jr. could be a running back if need be. You know what? Let's actually move him over there for the moment. Please tell me, is it Croy or Croy? Either way, I think I'm disappointed. Let's move in the running back for the moment, too. Brandon Venny. Also easily be a running back. That's fine. That's fine. Shout out to Lindy's. What's going on? Keith Washington. Leave him at wideout. Works for me. Whoops. Or move. Where the hell did I even move him? To kicker. Yikes. Let's not do that. Not do that. I mean, I'm all right with being a bad team, but we don't need to make it any worse than it's going to be. Cody Howard again. Can easily be a running back or a wide receiver. That's fine. Clint Bradley. Actually a better running back than he is a wide receiver. Right now, I just want to take kind of full inventory of who is best in what spot. And then Adam Simmons is yet again a better running back. Good to know. Yeah. These guys are the clear-cut, outright wideouts of the bunch. A couple of guys at 6'4" as well, which is pretty nice. And then these particular tight ends, for the moment, I'm going to move these guys over to fullback just to see how they measure up with the fullbacks that are already there. Right. So, what do we got? -4. Texas a -2. Donovan's a -4. Scully's a -3. And McCray is just as good, which is shocking. Then for running backs, Gaston, definitely a running back. Hassan, definitely a running back. Hall drops by 2 over the fullback. Simmons, probably a running back and move him back to wideout. We'll move Venny back over. Heidenreich, one more time, buddy. You're a bit undersized, but we'll move you to fullback for the moment. Myers, back to wideouts. Kent, same thing. Clint Bradley, he can stay for the moment. We'll move Howard back over, and then McCray. Go to fullback for the moment. So at running back, then, I think we have these 4. That's pretty much decided. I mean, we could move Anton Hall over, but that works for me. So now these 6, we need our 2 fullbacks and then tight ends. Yeah, the wide receiver core is looking okay. Promising. Young, they got a ways to go, but they're looking all right. So Fofana drops by 6. Texka only drops by 1. Heidenreich drops by 4, so Texka's getting moved over. Donovan is getting moved over. Quarterback for you is seeing this one. Caleb Williams. He did not go pro at the end of season 1. There you go. So Fofana and Heidenreich, wideouts are good. Tight ends are good. We got 2 seniors in the mix there, so that'll be a bit of a problem. But I think we're looking a little bit better. On the offensive line, let's shape it like this yet again. And in the future, at least for the YouTube side of things, I'll cut this part out because it takes forever. But hey, at least people get to see the process that has led us to titles before. Connor McMahon drops by 1, being moved to guard. Corey Smith stays the same, so we'll move him over. Crawford gets worse. Cummings drops by 1. Let's do that. Purvis, he gets better. Wayless gets a little bit worse. Bhutan gets better. What do we got for Morris? He stays the same. Batman versus Dracula. Pitch it. I mean, Bat versus Bat. The end. Tell me you're not sold. You know you are. All right, there we go. So for the tackles then, we'll have Connor McMahon and Grayson Crawford. And then we can move Trey Cummings over as well. And that works. And then for the centers, +3 for Smith, +2 for Purvis, +1, a +2, another +2. Apparition, the old 18 months. Thank you very much for that, my man. How the heck are ya? All right, let's see. So that was a +3 for Corey Smith. Is anybody else at a +4? I don't think they were. No. I'm doing pretty good, man. No complaints. Let's move you two over to right guard. And there we go. We got our offensive line. It's a work in progress. Give it time. It's a work in progress. Give it a little bit of time. We'll get there with them. And then the defense is always a bit of a pain. But let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Because I end up getting kind of ridiculous with trying to optimize where players are playing. But it's the only time it's going to have to be this ridiculous because, hey, we're, inheriting a team and trying to figure it out from there. So, Carl Bosch stay with Michigan. I'd imagine he'd go to the NFL, What more do you got to prove? Just set out, accomplish your goal. Go ahead and coach the Bears or be given the keys in Carolina,
I'm just trying to walk through this fucking grass.
Appreciate the fall, by the way. I am literally going to move everybody for the moment over to defensive end. And we're going to see who measures up where and who can play the best in each defensive spot. So let's let this ridiculousness continue on. Why the hell not? You like to get ridiculous with the optimization. We'll show Hudson over as well. Seems like a lot of our players are incredibly well balanced and can play pretty much anywhere, which is interesting. And then obviously we got a kicker and a punter. That's good. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Mr. Ramos stays the same. You got old Woodson Brooks who drops by 1. Richardson goes up by 1. Jacob drops by 2. Lane drops by 2. Waiting to see if there's anyone who gets better by like 2 or more points here at defensive tackle. Not looking too good. Stovall only gets worse by 1. Yeah, we're going to be pretty weak at defensive tackle this season, aren't we? And undersized. Nasir Rogers doesn't get any worse, at least. Yeah, God, with how little the points are changing, I'm going to have to do this by freaking weight at this point. And just have the D-line be the heftiest of the bunch. This is what we're looking at here. There is no one who stands out as being a defensive tackle above anything else. That is a bit of a shame. Yikes. All right, well, that backfired at least to try to make up for the lack of defensive tackles we were able to recruit this season. There we go, Landon Robinson, finally. Took us until practically the very bottom of the list. We finally found somebody who was half decent in that position. Kendall Whiteside as well. Get Kendall back over there. Probably the 2 guys that were originally there, now that I think about it, but even then, it's like, man, somebody had to be a little bit better. All right, we already looked at Elias Larry. So I need 2 more defensive tackles here. Let's go ahead and look at the strongest boys of the bunch. And Jonathan Richardson is 6'7", 265, would be pretty good. We only got a couple of dudes who are 260 or above 260. So we're going to go with Shireen. Chia. Switchy, what's going on? Congratulations. You are now a defensive tackle. And Mr. Jonathan Richardson, big strong boy. You're being moved over as well. In terms of the speed options, you guys are all getting moved over back to corner, or in the secondary where most of you came from anyway. So anybody with a decent amount of speed, let's let you guys get moved to the secondary for now. We'll figure it out from there. Shout to One Shot Hero for the follow. Welcome in. Appreciate it. How the heck are you? Whoops. That one. Again, thankfully, this is the only time that we have to do this, but this will help us really kind of get on track in terms of recruitment from here now that we'll actually have the proper spin on our team. So, hello, Crash Andrews, by the way. How the heck are you? We're going to have 80 speed be the cutoff there, which works for me. So, out of this bunch, we have to fill up the linebacker core and the defensive line. And honestly, I'm not against having the slowest of the bunch just be on the defensive line, which works for me. So, that'll mean moving a whole bunch of you over the linebacker. And we'll optimize this a little bit more. It's going to be anybody over a 75 being moved to linebacker here. Crash, I am doing phenomenally well. Thank you for asking. All right, so this is what we have left for the defensive line. It's going to be 2 freshmen leading the way, which is a little bit scary, but so be it. Looks like it'll be a 3-3 split with Dave Brantley likely being the starter. We got a couple of seniors in the mix, which is always a little bit scary. It's going to be an entirely freshman-built defensive line. And then for the linebackers, Ramos goes up by 2. Woodson Brooks goes up by 2. Jacob only by 1. Stovall actually drops. So Ramos, Woodson Brooks will move you to the middle. Campbell drops by 1. No, upperclassmen will still develop a bit, yeah, but I'm gonna be starting the freshmen. I should have clarified. We're gonna be starting them at this point. Harris gets worse. That dude stays about the same. Sullivan stays the same. Taylor stays the same. We can end up with quite a few middle linebackers here. Okay, and then Rima Butler started as a safety, but it looks like we're going to run you at linebacker. So let's move Stovall to the right, Campbell to the right, and Pierce to the right. A lot of middle linebackers in the conversation, including some big dudes, but hey, based on attributes, that's what we're looking at. Not too worried about size at this point. It's more just so the attributes. And now, nobody got pissed in terms of red shirts. Nobody left. We actually had people transfer over instead. It was beautiful. It worked out pretty well for us. All right, now out of this group, the actual speedsters of the bunch. 6'2", Matthew Peters gets moved over to safety. 6'1", Joe Hudson gets moved over. Spilios as well. 6'5", Jordan Sanders, will move him over. At least wanted to start off being a little bit heightest. And then from there, we can base it off of attributes a little bit. So Peters gets a -1. Hudson gets a -1. Sanders gets better. Spilios stays the same. Okay. Let's say 2 extra dudes need to move over to safety. And it will be these 2 at the bottom, given that they're the lowest rated corners. 65 and a 66. Perfect. Oh yeah, Peter Roll can move over. And there we go. I think we are ready. Again, the process always takes a little bit of time, but we have our athletes moved over. Right now we have 5 quarterbacks. because we moved over Tedros Gleaton. We'll kind of see what happens there. Someone's bound to get cut, which is okay. 5 running backs on the roster, only 1 senior. We got our 2 fullbacks. A pretty good amount of wideouts at this point, and a lot of freshmen in that mix. We got 4 tight ends on roster, 2 of them being seniors, so that'll be a focus of our scouting moving into next season. The O-line has a fair amount of depth. 2 out of 5 with 3 players in the slots, which isn't too bad. Defensive line, obviously, we'll have to focus there as well. But I feel like we at least have optimized this pretty well. And you can see how drastically it changed. Like Kyle Jacob moves from the middle to the outside, and then we got 2 former safeties that we ended up moving to outside linebacker. But I feel like it is for the best, and obviously running a 3-4 defense with these 2 seniors this year looks to be a pretty good idea. But I am pretty content with that. We'll get the training results next to see what type of improvement we have from the guys who are already on roster, which includes Blake Horvath going up to a 79 overall as a sophomore. Oh boy, the question is, do we start him or the freshman? Maybe we try to get away with redshirting the freshman if we can. But we got some options there. +6 for Anton Hall as a running back. That's tremendous. Dabo Fofana, our junior fullback, he's up to an 86. Heidenreich went up to a 71. A couple of the wideouts getting better, +4s and +5s. All 3 of the tight ends we already had are 71 overall. It's not too bad. You got Connor McMahon going up to a 79. I still think he'll be our highest rated offensive lineman. +4 for Moriarty, +6 for Self. Yeah, McMahon's still our best offensive lineman, but we actually got pretty damn good development here. A lot of +5s and +6, which is a very, very good sign. You got Colin Ramos now up to an 82. Damn, one of, if not the highest rated player on the team. Okay. We are a better team than we were last year, which means we will have a worse record, because that's how the game works. Oh God, how many players do I have to cut? Only 4. That's not bad. That's not bad. We brought in Ernest Young, but do we need him? We got 3 sophomores and the other freshman, McKinley Malloy. Do we really need Ernest Young? I don't think we do. That, or you could say, get rid of one of these 2, but it really comes down to whether or not I want to risk redshirting McKinley Malloy or if we just play him. Running backs, you do have the senior and Amin Hassan, but we got 4 freshmen behind him. So really no reason to not cut Hassan. We need 2 fullbacks. 5. We could cut 1 wideout, which would be Myers at a 71. 4 tight ends is good. We don't have the offensive line depth. I think most of the cuts are going to have to come from the offensive side of things. And maybe a middle linebacker, but it doesn't really make sense to cut anybody. You could argue Portiao. That's how you say that? I'm not sure. Corners, we could cut the 1 senior, Mr. Williams Jr. Whole lot of seniors, though, at corner. That is going to have to be our primary scouting focus this season. But, okay, I think we know where we're going to go. And even though we brought in Ernest Young, I think we can let him go due to some of the changes that we've had. So, sorry, Ernie. Running back-wise, we'll get rid of the senior, Amin Hassan. We will get rid of Myers at wide receiver. We did not really need. And we can get rid of Williams. You recruited that dude and then cut him. Welcome to the Navy. Hey, we don't play games around here. We're in it to win at all times. Some hard cuts had to be made, but I'm, again, feeling pretty optimistic about where we have this team after just 1 season, given they were tied for the lowest rated team in the league. Custom conference wise, bowl tie-ins, there's nothing to worry about there. The skill tree, though, it will be worth resetting for the moment, because we had set up the scouting for the final few weeks of the season, and now we can change that. So we will fully set up the scouting efficiency, and now we'll take the extra recruitment points to the first 7 weeks, which is a little bit of a cheat code for us. And again, I'm not too worried about the gameplay ones. For the coordinators, they're pretty much fine. There's nothing we have to do there. But a nice little maneuver by us there. So that gets us to the preseason, and Chad, it's the moment you've been waiting for, where you guys are going to get to rename the new freshman on the team. Say goodbye to the beautiful boys such as, I mean, Jonathan Richardson. He'll have a different name. McKinley Malloy. Again, it'll be freshmen only. We'll leave the other dudes since they're real, but time for this team to get a little bit weird.